Welcome back. In this lesson, we want to talk a little bit about automation. Now, we know in C we can do the same sort of math we can do on a calculator, but calculators are a lot handier, so why would we use C? Well, programming lets you program boring, repetitive operations that people aren't so good at, but computers are. For instance, if I asked you to, on your calculator, add up all the numbers from 0 to 100, you might throw your calculator at me. If I asked you to add them from 0 to 1,000, you'd probably just get up and leave. It's boring. Why would you bother to do it? But on a computer, it's quite happy to do that for you. And one of the key elements of that is the for loop. So here's a little bit of a program. And this bit here is the for loop. So for, open bracket, close bracket, and then curly brace, close curly brace. You can add all sorts of code in here, the kind of code that you want to repeat over and over. In this case, 100 times. Now, inside this brackets, you'll notice that there are 3 terms separated by semicolons. The first one is where do you start? So we're starting at 0. We have to define the variable I so that there's memory space of it. Here we're saying go up to and including the number 100. And we're saying to do it in steps of 1. We could have also said things like do it in steps of 3. Although in this case I asked you to add up to 100. So we want to do in increments of 1. And we usually wouldn't write I equals I equals I plus 1 because there's a C programming shortcut that says just do I plus plus. And that's actually a little faster for the compiler to do. It means the same thing as I equals I plus 1. Down here, we start with a variable that we've called sum. It's always a good idea to name your variables, give your variables names that make sense to you. And so we're doing sum equals sum plus I. Or, if I wanted, sum equals plus equals I would do exactly the same thing. So let's build this and see what we get. See if we have any error messages. No error messages. Now let's go to the output. I have my other code still in there. Clear that. Stop this. Do it again. Get a clean run. Okay, here's the output window. And here you say, it says sum equals 5050. You could check that there's a formula that says the sum of the first 100 numbers would be n times n plus 1 divided by 2. So that would be 100 times 101 divided by 2. Yeah, that would be 50/50. So this structure, this for loop, is a very powerful part of programming where we need to repeat steps over and over as many times as we want. We'll be using these things a lot. I should also mention down here in the printf statement inside the quotes, I can put in any text I want. It doesn't have to just be these number holders. Any kind of text you want, and you can make this, sum of the first 100 numbers equals.